wings is huge. I ended up, yeah, kind of ruining them. If you're a knitter or a crocheter, have you ever made something that really doesn't sit well with you, or you actually absolutely hate at the very end, or just looks plain ugly? If you haven't, I definitely have, and I decided to share my ugliest knits and crochet makes with you today. I will be ranking them from the bottom, so the least ugly, to the top, the absolutely ugliest, in my opinion at least. If you're curious, then this is the episode for you. Let's get started. If you're new here, you're very welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. So today we have a little bit of a special episode. I have a small pile here to my right. I've been thinking about filming this episode for a while because I have quite a few things that I have made in the past, especially at the beginning of my knitting journey and my crocheting journey, but not only. And yes, some of them really didn't come out right, and it's usually, just disclaimer at the very beginning, it's not really the fault of whoever designed the design. So it's not the fault of the designer, it's definitely user's fault, so it's definitely me. Sometimes I just didn't pay attention to gauge, sometimes I just thought that the colors would work out, sometimes I just didn't understand the instructions. For different reasons, this is how they came out. Anyway, sometimes some of them are a bit of an experiment on my part too. So another disclaimer, actually, I have some of them with me, some of them I don't anymore, because actually, well, one got lost and another one I actually frogged because I couldn't bear wasting such pretty merino wool, and another one actually ended up in the bin. Before I start, just let me remind you, this is my channel, Past and Pearls, and you can get in touch with me through my email, past.purls@gmail.com, my Instagram, past.purls, or my Ravelry, where I am Laura Past Pearls. And now let's start with the 8th place. So in 8th place, this is one of the items that I don't have anymore. It's a tank top that I attempted, I feel like 2 years ago. I think it was more like about 3 years ago, and it took me, I was so excited for that tank top, so I had plans for it. So the pattern is 8 p.m. tank top, and the pattern looked amazing. It looked customizable, so the very talented designer had created a little tool where you could just enter your measurements, and that would just give out the correct amount of stitches, the correct amount of rows, so the pattern would change. It was kind of adaptable, and I thought that was absolutely genius, and I still think it is genius. However, something went wrong, so it took me a while, I think about a couple of months, to make it, and it was actually a real nice pattern to make. It had really nice structure, and I was planning to use it. It was merino wool, so I was planning to use it with a nice, it had chosen like a kind of taupe type of color. That was before mocha mousse became the Pantone color for the year. So I thought about wearing that like in spring, maybe March, or even April if it's a rainy day, with a white shirt underneath, maybe a shirt with a little bit of puffy sleeve like this dress that I'm wearing today, and this cute little, well-fitting, in theory, tank top. No, it didn't work out like that. It was quite a bit of work because the construction was quite interesting, and I thought it was really cleverly constructed and everything. However, for some reason, the measurements for the bust area came out completely wrong, and I had entered, I'm pretty sure I entered the correct amount. I don't know what went wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it was not the pattern itself, because the pictures looked quite all right, the pictures in the projects, but mine didn't. It looked, on the paper it kind of looked like it, but the bust part, it was supposed to have this cute picked up edge kind of just under the bust before starting the rest of the tank top, and that bit which was supposed just to go under here was like at my belly button level, and it wasn't a good look at all. I did consider ripping it back, adjusting it, but I couldn't really figure out how to do that without kind of compromising the balance of the pattern. So I just decided to frog it basically immediately, like the day after I finished it. I think I gave it 2-3 days. I tried it a few times with different things. I had a friend have a look at it, tell me what she thought, have some suggestions on how maybe I could just adjust it. But in the end I wasn't convinced. I don't think I would have used it, so I just frogged it, reclaimed the yarn. I have made a pair of mittens which I gifted with some of the yarn, and I still have quite a bit to make something else, maybe another pair of mittens, maybe for myself this time, I don't know. But yeah, so that wasn't a success, and that yarn is not going to be used for another tank top. Also because when I ended up unraveling it, so for the way it was constructed, you had to pick up lots of stitches, etc, etc. So I had lots of bits and bobs where I had to use a small amount of yarn and then cut it. So when I unraveled it, I had, I think, something like 6, 7, 8 small balls of it. That it's a bit annoying then if you have to then use them for something bigger. So that is my first one, and I did use Easy Care Merino for that one, which was fairly inexpensive, but it felt really nice. It was nice to knit with it. If you have made this pattern or any of the other patterns, please let me know in the comments, because I want to know. And if you have any ideas of how I failed, let me know. Also, well, I don't know if I don't even know if I took a picture of it. I might have. I'm gonna go back and look. Maybe I sent a picture. I'm pretty sure I sent some pictures to Petra, and I'm gonna go and have a look. So if you will have seen the pictures, they will be there. If I couldn't find any, I am sorry, but I'm going to link. I'm going to show you actually what it was supposed to look like, and I'm gonna also, as usual, link back to the pattern on Ravelry. So this is the only frogged one from the ones that I have here. In seventh place, I have a blanket that I made. I called it my first blanket because I actually don't remember the pattern. I have to correct myself actually. It was called Simple Seeds Blanket. So at the time, I remember I couldn't find the yarn, or it was a yarn that was too expensive. One of these two. I think it was maybe a yarn that was discontinued or difficult to find. So I think I used yarn subs to go and find a yarn that would be a good replacement for it, and I trusted the website, and the replacement for it was a Twillies of Stamford Freedom wool, which after I used it, I found out that it's actually a wool that is used very often for felting projects. For working on things that you then want to felt. So that it was super soft, but it was basically an unspun yarn, and it was really lovely to work, a lovely finish, but it actually broke really easily. It broke really easily still when I was working on it, and then when we started using it. So I had specifically made an extra long blanket because that's what Jani wanted. Yeah, then it started really developing holes, like you would pull it on you and then you would have your big toe like literally popping out. The reason why this is in 7th place is because it wasn't necessarily an ugly knit. It was actually quite pretty. Even my final result came out really nice. It was beautiful. It had this beautiful texture of the seed stitch, and I liked the color that I chose. It was really nice, but it was a bit of a failed project because I didn't choose the right yarn, so that this can be the result. It can end up either in an ugly knit or something that you end up using not as much as you would like to, because the yarn is not the right one and it's too fragile of a piece. So when we moved, I realized that it had lots of holes, and it was not moths, because I never had a moth problem, but it was definitely not moths. it was literally, I remember when it happened a few times with me and a few times with Jani, when literally just a finger or the toe just went through the yarn and the yarn just broke. It was really soft, but again, really, yeah, not great. I mean, I'm sure it's great if you want to do felted things, probably, but not a seed stitch blanket. In sixth place, I've got something here that I can show you. This is, I put it in my ugly makes because it's a little bit of a combination of things, and I wore it to go to a knitting fair. I've used it to go line dancing, to go out and about. It keeps me nice and warm. I've used it at home. I wouldn't use it much to go out because ultimately the color combination ended up a little bit weird, because again, I used yarn that the yarn I started with was actually okay, but it wasn't enough, so I just had no idea when I started it. Anyway, let me show you and then we can talk about it. So this is the Granny Pop pullover, and first, as you can see, it didn't come out being a pullover, but it's short sleeved. It's a tee, which is fine. Then I chose to do the ribbing with this yarn, which was too thick, so the neck came out really weird. And then I decided to do the same on the sleeves again, and also I don't think it's a great color. Doesn't really go with the yarn. And then I ran out of yarn around here. Yeah, I ran out of yarn here in the middle of the body, and I just wanted to finish it, so I just attached one row of different yarns that I had, which I don't think, it doesn't work too badly, but maybe I would have just been better off just doing it all in the pink, or maybe all in the purple, or even just all in the gray. I don't know, it just, because then I created a different type of color pattern that is too different. Anyway, and then because I hated the ribbing in this color and in the crochet, so then I decided, and this I think works quite well actually, I decided to just do a 2x2 ribbon in knitted, and I did it in the gray. So why is it an ugly crochet make? Because it's it could have been so good if I had it enough, if I had had enough of the original. So the original was a cake that Jani actually bought me once when I went to Italy to visit Alex, our son, and it's he found himself at the market and he bought me 2 balls. One, a cake of this, which was incredibly lovely, and another one that it's in another ugly make. So they were not enough to make big things, but I wanted to make something special with them, and I ended up, yeah, because I wanted to make something special with both of them, I ended up, yeah, kind of ruining them, really. Anyway, so yeah, it's the fit is okay. So yeah, I like it. So this stays, but definitely it would have been so much better if I had been able to use all of this. But yeah, now I have in the plans another granny pop. I want to do a proper granny pop pullover, so with the long sleeves, and I want to use some Aldi yarn that I bought. It's an ombre yarn, and I think I have 3 balls of it, so hopefully they will be enough. If I have the same problem, I don't know what I will do, but we will see. So yeah, this was in sixth position because I still use it, but it's a bit of a ugly make because the color combination is not great. I ruined it a little bit with that, so it didn't come out as beautiful as I wanted it to be. Then 5th place. This is another piece that I've used a lot, and I must say, when I first started using it, it was okay. It was a bit big, but it was still okay. Then when I first washed it, that's when I realized it's just the wrong yarn. In this case, actually, I have, so okay, this is in 5th place, is the Top Gun Bomber. This is a pattern by Knitude. So I followed the pattern. I have used the recommended yarn. Actually, I fell in love with this pattern in this yarn when she was wearing it once. She was doing a video. I remember it. It was a special video that she made for We Are Knitters about blocking. And she was actually wearing this. And I was like, okay, I want that pattern. I want that bomber. And I want to wear it as she does. And I did. I made it. It was super quick to make. So there's 2 problems here. One is that I think she makes you use a needle that is too big for this yarn. This is a Lion Brand Chenille yarn, which I've also used for another pattern from her, but she makes you use a significantly smaller needle for that one. So this one, I was like, well, that's the gauge that she recommends, but it's too holy. I don't know. Anyway, so the first problem was that one. So it came out really big, the sleeves came out really long because it's really large, and that's a little bit the fit that it has. But it's this, actually I want to wear it because I want to show you. So this looks still okay, but then and kind of looks okay from the front or where I'm sitting, but as soon as I stand up, you can see first thing the sleeve, where the sleeves end up, because the shoulders are all the way to here. Like this is still the shoulder, so the sleeve end up really way too long. And then from the front is still kind of okay. However, when you turn, it has really a weird, it's really weird. So you have this thing with the sleeve. If you're doing something, you have to keep putting up the sleeve, and then you got the back that is all like that. It's really weird. So that's one problem. The second problem is that this yarn is a Chenille yarn, which I love, but it's basically 100% alpaca yarn, and I don't know at the time. I found out later, and also I learned from watching the Arne and Carlos videos. They did a wonderful video once where they were talking about how to choose the correct yarn type for your projects, and they really talked about the characteristics of the yarn, and they talked about alpaca, and they said alpaca is lovely, it's soft, but if you use 100% alpaca, just keep it into consideration that it will stretch and not come back. So it keeps stretching, and then when you wash it, it stretches a little bit more and it doesn't bounce back like everything else does. Like even cotton bounces back a little bit, but alpaca doesn't. So on top of this, having been knitted with bigger needles, it was already a large gauge. Already on top of that, it was done as a very comfy fit. On top of that, it is also done with an alpaca chainette, which is even more stretchy. Alpaca chainette yarn, which just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing, and it keeps growing both in length and also in width. So as you can see, this is like a bat. It's like wings. Is huge, and I did the medium, and I've done other knitted patterns, and my size with her is always the medium, and they usually fit me perfectly. So I done my usual size, but still it didn't come out right. Plus it peels a lot, so I had bought this yarn again for another cardigan, which I use. I try to keep it so that it doesn't stretch too much, etc, etc, and it doesn't stretch like this because it was done with much smaller needles. But yeah, I mean, look here. So this per se, I've done it exactly by the book as it was supposed to be, but it's just, I really think it was just the wrong yarn and the wrong needles. So that's that. And then maybe, I don't know, the way the back is constructed, I think I would have done the ribbing differently also. So I want to make another, I really like this concept though. So I want to make another type of this. So I have yarn from Drops to make, I think it's Drops, no, it's not Drops here. Yeah, I think it's Drops here, which is slightly smaller. I'm gonna use smaller needles. I'm gonna use a smaller size S, and I'm gonna do the ribbing as I think I should be doing it. So I'm gonna try again, but this one again is something that I use at home. I use it when I am, you know, when I'm like this, wearing something like this, and I'm a bit cold, and then I might be working from home. I put it on. Usually this bit usually kind of looks okay, and it's nice because you got all of these sleeves. So it is nice to wrap in it, which is why I still have it. Every time I wash it though, it drives me insane because this is hand wash and I have to soak it, and then I don't want to stretch it too much. It's a nightmare, but for now I still have it. Then I don't know what I will do with it when I will have made a new one that maybe I can wear when I go outside. I don't know. So this is why this is in 5th place of my ugliest knits, and I do think this is not particularly pretty. In 4th place, now we are getting close to the podium. We have my very first jumper, which I have to say, I did my very first jumper very early on in my knitting career, in my knitting journey. So it was an easy one, but still required lots of work. I was absolutely so pleased with the result, but I'm sorry, it is definitely an ugly sweater. It's an ugly knit for different reasons. So the pattern is the buttercream sweater from We Are Knitters, and I used their We Are Knitters Petit Wool in the color, I don't remember, but it's yellow. So I started doing the size S. And after doing, so this was knitted, is knitted in rib, in pieces. So you knitted the 2 sleeves, then the front, the back, and then you would sew it together. And you have this boat neck, I think it's called. It's super easy, it doesn't have any shaping, nothing. Well, after doing the first panel, let's say the front or the back, because they're the same, I realized it was a little bit too short, a little bit small. So I had this genius idea. Instead of redoing it, I decided to, oh no problem, I'm gonna do the other side following the instruction for the M, so that then when I put them together, this will kind of rebalance it and make up for the difference in size. Obviously now I know better. I immediately knew better, by the way. Probably you also all know that it doesn't work like that, but still I was absolutely unbothered. I continued it that way. So this is what I use as a front because it's a bit longer. So this is the M panel and this is the S panel. So that is one thing. Then another thing I did is that when I was doing the sleeves, I absolutely got all, I don't know, arrogant maybe. And I absolutely forgot to keep looking at the pattern, and I didn't realize, I assumed that the sleeves were done in the same way as the body, so just a rectangle. No, you had to do increases. So you started from here, from the wrist, and then in your flat panel you had to do increases when you were basically reaching the top of the sleeve. I had no idea, and I didn't really look at the pattern, so I was like, oh okay, so you have to do it until it's like X centimeter length. Okay, then you cast off. That's what I did, absolutely unbothered. Then I looked up some videos on how to sew it together. I was absolutely pleased with the job I did to actually sew it together with mattress stitch, because it came out really nice in my opinion. Made a huge ridge on the inside, but that's fine, it's kind of expected, isn't it? And then I tried it on and I realized, oops, the sleeves don't fit. Why? Obviously because you need to have a little bit of a bigger gap here. So I was distraught at that point, because I had absolutely no idea how to rip it open and how to redo the sleeve and fix it. So I brought it home to my aunt, and she kept it there for a few months until she had time to fix it. Basically, still the result is not perfect, but at least now it fits, so I can wear it again. I usually wear it on a very cold day because it's extremely warm. It's quite thick at home, so I use it working from home because again the top looks kind of okay, the bottom just looks weird. Another thing actually that looks weird, I don't know if you can see it from the video, around this area here. So at the time I also was experimenting a little bit on how to join yarn, because I didn't know exactly how to do it, what was the best way to do it. And one of the ways that were actually suggested as part of We Are Knitters, because it's again is a yarn that doesn't have much, it's not spun much, so it's easy to felt. Again, this was one of my top tier finishes at the time, but yeah, again, first jumper. So they the way they suggested, because it's easy to spun because it's 100% Peruvian wool, was to basically do this spit splice. Yeah, so spit splice the yarn, and then kind of felt it together and then go on knitting. The thing is, I don't know about you, but I stopped doing that because it never looks okay. And unfortunately it happened here, and this is very visible here. It happened here. Here. This bit here, around here, and around this area. And this is quite visible also because it's in the front, because this is the panel I have to use as the front because it's the longer panel. So I can't even say, okay, I'll just put it on the back, it's less visible. No, so it's just this area here, which is really prominent. So yeah, that's another thing. So there's a few things about it that make it ugly, because also it's my first feather. So yeah, if I hadn't made the mistakes I did, probably it would be less ugly. But between the double sizing, the sleeves that had to be fixed, but they will never look as they should, because they're still, I mean, they fit, but they're not the comfiest ones, because they're literally missing a bit of fabric that should be there. But yeah, I still use it. It's still my first jumper, so I'm still proud of it, because it was ribbon, so it was lots of knitting and purling, and yeah, I think that's also why I'm okay purling, probably because I decided to do it as my very first jumper. Then in third place I have a chenille hat. It was a bucket hat, I don't have it anymore because I gave it to Jani and he lost it, sadly. I made a few things in Chenille for different babies, and I had some left over at the time, and I decided to do, I had yellow, and no, it was a cake, and it would go from the yellow to the orange. So I had some yellow and then some orange, and I decided to do a chicken with it. So I started doing this bit, but the pattern for the chicken that I wanted to do was with yarn that would end up like this, and it was, I think, DK yarn, and of course that chenille was chunky, so the chicken probably would have come out this big, and obviously there was a leftover. It wasn't even enough to start with. So by the time I had done like the crown of the head of the chicken, I realized I wouldn't have enough yarn. So I just decided to, again, no pattern for that, I just decided to go down and do a hat, like a bucket hat, and then I did the remaining bit in the orange. So it was yellow and then orange. I don't even know if I have a picture of it because it didn't last very long. Jani loved it, weirdly. I was like, oh my god, what did I do? I should unravel it. And Jani was like, no, I think I want to wear it. Jani loved it and he started using it. He used it a couple of times and then he lost it. I've never seen it again, so I don't know what it is. So unfortunately that was, trust me, was very ugly. I would have never worn it, but Jani he claimed it, so for him it was not ugly at all, but it was. It had no pattern because I kind of made it up. Now second place is another hat. And so this is the other part of the story of the other yarn that Jani bought me when he was in Italy. So this was a small ball actually, and I made a hat with it. I decided to make a crochet hat with it, which maybe I could have gotten away with a knitted hat, but definitely not a crochet hat, as you know, uses way more yarn. Anyway, it was a lovely kind of ombre yarn in purple. And yes, so let's hide it a bit. So this would have come out really lovely and I would have been more than happy to wear it. However, when I reached this point, I realized that I didn't have enough yarn because I ran out of yarn and I didn't know what to use for it. So I went and looked. At the time, again, I didn't really have much of a stash, so it was mainly yarn that I had left over from other projects. So I had this yarn that was left over from something that I had made for a baby, and then I had this yarn which was left over from, you guessed it, my first jumper. So I decided, okay, let's continue with this, which looks ugly enough with the purple. I don't know why I thought it was okay, why I didn't just unravel it and find another yarn or do something else, something smaller with this yarn. Anyway, then I ran out of this leftover and I was like, oh, I'm so close, so let's just put some yellow. And so this is the story of probably the ugliest hat that you've ever seen in your entire life. There's also some very dubious dodgy decreases at the top because I hadn't crocheted much by the time I did this. It looks really dodgy to me. So yeah, and Jani loved it. I was about to throw it in the bin. When I finished it, I looked at it, I tried it and I was like, oh my, I would never wear this. This is too ugly. So he tried it on, he liked it and he uses it. We went to the park yesterday with Loki. My first little piece, I don't know if you know, but at the moment I've broken my toe, my third toe, which is big and painful, and I still hadn't been anywhere, just, you know, downstairs with Loki when need be, because I still can't wear shoes. So I'm just wearing my house shoes, like my slippers basically. So I went to the park. They're not slippers, they're, you know, the Birkenstock sandals that are a little bit more sturdy and they are nice and hard at the bottom. Anyway, so that was my first time going literally anywhere since I've hurt my foot. And we went to the park. Luckily no one was there, and he was wearing this hat because it's obviously very nice and warm, because this is all wool. This is all wool. All, I think this was like 80% wool, but this 100% wool, and this is 100% wool, so it's really nice and warm. Yes, and everyone who sees him, they're kind of like, why? I made this, but I don't have an answer. I don't know what I was thinking. Let me try it on for you. Be kind. Yeah, you don't have to be kind. Again, if the hat finished here, I would love it. I would absolutely love it, because I think it's a lovely purple color. So if it finished here, I would be so happy. I would love it. I would wear it every day. But sadly, I've added this. I'm not happy with this. I've added this. So yeah, no, it's ugly, and no. But Jani loves it, so he can use it. So this is second, because I would have put it first, but because Jani loves it, I think then, and he uses it, then it still has some use, so it can't be the worst of everything I've ever made, right? So that's that. Now, I hope you're ready. First place is the Brezo Tea by We Are Knitters, and it is done with their, I don't remember, this is a special colorway. I don't remember what's the name of the colorway anymore. With their cotton, the cotton from We Are Knitters. I even had to buy extra cotton to finish it. Anyway, this, I loved making it, and I was so pleased. Like, look how neat. It's not an ugly knit. This is not an ugly knit because I messed it up for once, which is also why it's at the top, because I didn't do anything wrong with it. In this case, it's the pattern that is wrong. So look how neat. So you got this kind of lacy details, back, front and back, the very same. Then you have these details here for the sleeves, and then look how neat. This again, you had to sew it together, but at that time I was a bit more proficient. Like, look how neat my mattress stitches is exactly here where my finger is, but you can't see it because I did it really nice. And the ridge inside is again very neat. So I think it took me a long time to actually finish this. I think I did a really good job. However, especially because it was knitted flat, I couldn't try it on. So I could tell it looks a bit big, but I was like, I think it's gonna be fine. It's a nice loose fit. It's fine. It's nice. No. What annoys me is that what I found out with We Are Knitters, I don't know if they changed it now, because I got so annoyed, and I still have some kits from them that I still need to make, but I stopped making things after this because I got really annoyed, because they only had 4 sizes from S to XL, so not size inclusive at all, and their sizing runs small, and the way, even from the S to the XL, which is not a big difference in size, they don't grade it up. I don't know how to grade the pattern. I've never done it. All that I know, I learned actually from Knitative, because she's shared quite a bit of information on how she at least does it. And again, I don't even know if that's the best way to do it, but I understand, and I know a little bit on how actually normal clothes are fitted. So I know that you can't just, you know, multiply whatever the size is and make it like that. So make it okay. We just keep the shape as it is, and we just make it 15 centimeters larger. So add dot extra stitches, and everything else is exactly the same, because that was the case with this one. No, you can't do that. You need to rethink the whole proportion of the garment, otherwise you end up with this, which you can't wear, because this is way too big for me. This is way too deep. It goes this falls off, doesn't even stay on my shoulder because it's too large. Plus, this is incredibly short for something this large. But this is like at least this much too big for me. Okay, maybe I should have done the M. My mistake. But this made me find out that these patterns are not well written. They are written in the S. I'm 100% sure, because even the M doesn't look exactly like, nothing look that I've ever made in the M looks exactly, fits me exactly like in the pictures. So they're written for the S, and then M, L, and XL. I can't even imagine how the XL looks like. They're just spread, expanded, proportions are not updated, don't change. So this is by far what I consider my ugliest knit. I also don't particularly love, I love the idea of this variegated yarn from Weird Knitter, which was kind of a new thing when I bought the yarn, but I also don't love the way this variegated yarn looks. I think it looks a bit, the way it kind of pulls, but not really. It looks a bit ugly to me. It looks a bit meh. And this is something that I can't wear. So last year I had decided to unravel it and just reclaim the yarn. I'm gonna do something else with it, which hopefully suits the yarn a little bit better. But then I stopped because I knew I wanted to do this video, and I told myself, I know I want to show it because it's gonna be my number one. I'm not gonna show, I'm not gonna unravel it until I've shown it on video. So yeah, this is how this looks, and I mean, I can show you. Definitely fits above the dress. But obviously this is supposed to be worn just as a camisole. I'm gonna stop talking because I have the microphone on. Even if you wear it on a dress like this, okay, this is not a summer dress, this is a winter dress, but even if you wear it on a dress, it just looks wrong. Look. So yeah, so this is gonna be unraveled. I don't know if I actually will be able to find something. I think this probably suits better something, maybe a crochet dress, maybe a crochet beach dress. I think I have more than enough for that. So yeah, it will probably have to be that. And I am so upset about this because it took me so long to finish it. And I think, let me take it off. And I think I did a fantastic job. So this lacy bit was charted. It was my first working with something charted. So I think, yeah, as you can see, it's not exactly perfect, but I think it was more than good enough. So it was my first time with something charted, so it took me a long time to finish it. I had to buy extra yarn, and then yeah, I am so upset by this. Is my ugliest knit, top ranked ugliest knit in all that I've ever made. So, and that's that. I do hope you enjoyed ranking my ugliest makes, knits and crochet, and I hope that we can all learn from my mistakes. That is really my wish for everyone. That is it for today. Two things that I'm curious if you want to let me know in the comments. One, as I've asked earlier, if you've ever made any of these things that I've made, that I've shown you today, and how did they work out for you? And then second one, do you have an ugliest make? What's your ugliest make? Please let me know. Don't let me be alone here sharing my failures, my crafting failures. I don't consider them failures. They are a learning, it's a learning curve, but every time I look at them I actually laugh. So it's fun, and I thought this would be a fun video, and I really hope it was a fun video for you too to watch. Anyway, that's it for today. Next video, I'm pretty sure, will be the podcast, and don't despair. I know I didn't release a January podcast. I've been really busy and lots of stuff happened. I'm gonna update you all during the podcast, but I've been keeping track of things. I've got lots to share with you. Next week it will be the 28th is Saturday, so my plan is really on the 28th morning I will be here filming my January and February podcast, and I want really to release it as fast as possible after that. So stay tuned. In a few days my podcast will be with you, and I will be sharing everything that I've been making since the new year. And that's it for today. I just have to thank you as always. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.